Chilangos is always in the house. Today, had a tough day. I replaced my POS system and it's been driving me crazy. You know, I've been up and down, 6 o'clock in the morning, crazy. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Today is our second episode of Chilangos in the House podcast. You know, I always bring interesting people, good looking people. I wasn't talking about you, Frank.
Okay.
Don't get too excited. But you know what? The idea is to make it fun. The things that we go through in life, here at the restaurant, in our community, in our beautiful Highlands. I started last time with my wonderful friend Jimmy. You guys all met Jimmy. And I will continue bringing friends, neighbors, people that mean something to Chilangos, to me. But, you know, I am Chilangos, Chilangos is me. So when I say to Chilangos, means me and Chilangos. We're together, we're brothers, we're family. Today, I was driving by and I saw a bunch of friends of mine down the street and I pulled up and I go like, guys. So they all came and they're like, what's up? I said, man, I got a podcast going on and come on, I need some support. I need somebody to come and then talk to me, talk with me about different issues, about stories, about who we are, about what we do, about Highlands, about politics, about whatever. You know, this is a podcast. Man, I just said politics. You know what happens every time I say politics?
Bad things?
No, we got to do shot of tequila. We got to do shot of tequila. So before I introduce my brother man here, we have to do a shot of tequila. So I just found out last time I tried Flecha Azul, which is a very nice, beautiful Blanco tequila. I had it with Jimmy. You know Jimmy,
Yep.
He's our neighbor.
I know Jimmy well.
And this thing was beautiful. I'm impressed. Jay, man, you did a good job, man. You're creating monsters here. But anyway, we tried the Blanco and we did it before.
We did before,
So
yes.
I think it's time for us to try the Reposado one. Before I introduce my friend Frank, who's been here living in town. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell them who you are.
My name is Frank McLaughlin. I've been living in town since a year before Hurricane Sandy. And when Sandy hit, I had my firstborn, or my secondborn was birthed a couple of weeks prior to the storm, and whole family had to get out of town. Very stressful, just like it was for almost everyone in this town. And but you know, being in Highlands, being a part of the reconstruction of it, living through it, and living through what had to be the most difficult time for everybody in this town, you know, made all of us Highlanders, as opposed to Bennies or whatever you want to call the outsiders who come here and bring a lot of business to our town, and they're wonderful people in their own right. But you know, and I'll probably never be a lifelong Highlander, but you know, I've shared the biggest event with everybody who's been here 50 years. They've, you know, we all have that in common. And, you know, you and I are both relatively new to Highlands in terms of not being born here. And it's great. I love this town.
I call it community.
And you're a big part of this community. And you always have been since I've been here. Because I've lived right around the corner, on one block over on Barbary, and now I live on Seadrift. Pretty much the same location, and this was always my go-to location for wonderful food and wonderful company.
Big supporter of Chilangos. Therefore, we have to loosen up a little more. So let's try our wonderful Flecha Azul. But this is the Reposado. You had the Blanco.
I have not had the Reposado yet.
No, right. Let's check it out. I love the Blanco. So let's see what's going on with the Reposado. Salud.
Oh, it's so incredibly smooth.
You know what? It is very smooth.
I love that. That
Wow.
is definitely a sipping tequila.
Jay, man, you're creating monsters here, and I'm not kidding.
This is wonderful.
Frankie, before anything, you know, every time I bring someone here, I want you to take something home.
Oh, that's
This
wonderful.
is the Chilangos hat,
Thank you so much.
and I want you to have it. Maybe you want to wear it for a little bit,
Yes.
if you don't mind.
I mean, no, I'm going
you
to
don't
wear
have
it.
to. It's just a little bit,
I gotta get the gangster label off the front of it. So.
Oh,
No,
you
you're
know
okay.
what? I got to do my thing too. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh, and
So you know what? I wanna talk to you about. So you've been here how long? You said in Highlands.
13 years, I guess?
13 years. I've been here 23 years.
Okay.
So
That's
10
a
years
long
more
time.
than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, when I came to this town 23 years ago, I just want you to know that the things that I've heard before, right? I came here, and I'm going to tell the story eventually about how I came here, right? But all I can tell you is that when I came here and I saw this place, I was interested in it, and I was like, man, the American dream, blah, blah, blah. I was able to buy this place. There's going to be a story behind it. And don't forget, Chilangos in the House, my book. I wrote a book. You can hear the whole story, because if I tell you everything, then what am I selling, right? So there's a beautiful story I will share with you. But I came in, I bought the place. It wasn't easy at all. And then I started hearing things, like back in the day, Highlands, stories that I've heard. Man, are you crazy? You went to Highlands, it's all white people. And 30 years ago, they tried hanging a dark-skinned person by the bridge, and they burned the house. Crazy stories, right? Whether it's true or not, I don't know. Only God knows. So, man, you're crazy, but everybody seems to be nice. I opened up the restaurant. I started with Chilangos. It took me a while to adjust, because when you're new, you come in with your thoughts, your menu, your food, and then you learn as time goes by that what you like, what you want to sell, is not necessarily what people want. I'm from Mexico City. There's a huge difference, and I want to talk about perception, right? I'm from Mexico City, and let me ask you a question before anything. Have you been to Mexico?
I have been. For the first time, I went last year with a friend of mine who's having her 50th birthday party, and a bunch of us went, and went to Playa del Carmen.
Playa del Carmen.
And it was beautiful. We had unbelievable weather, of course. It was September. It was just
Perfect.
It's a water, and you're right by the ocean. I really enjoyed it.
People tend to love southern Mexico, the beaches, Cancun, but that's my comment. When people talk about Mexico, a lot of people think of either Cancun or drugs and cartels and crime, right? Part of my job here at Chilangos, Frank, and we never had this conversation, you and I, before, there's a big perception about everything and anything in the world. Well, for you to know, you haven't been to Mexico City. I'm from Mexico City. Real quick, if I ask you, what's your perception? How do you picture Mexico City? Being honest, I don't care what you think. I've heard everything.
Very busy. I
Very
just
busy.
think a lot of noise, a lot of cars honking, and just.
Is it a big place? Is it a small? Is it like Newark? Is it like...
No. I think it's more like New York City. I think it's more like 6-8 million people, maybe even bigger than that. I think there's probably some disparities in income and some of the things that go along with that in terms of inequalities and but I'm.
Which is
I don't
normal,
know.
right?
But the bigger the city, and the more that you're going to get, and it's also a place where you're going to have the greatest. The wealthiest people are going to congregate there because it's where all the business is done, and that's where where you have to be if you're going to be a businessman or a businesswoman in Mexico.
I want you to know that right now there's a boom in Mexico about the economy is doing great, and
That's great.
Politics, whether some people don't like them or they do. I mean, I came here to this beautiful country, which I owe to this country. I always talk about it. I happen to live and represent what we call the American dream. I came in the 80s, 1989, where my situation, my understanding, I come from a rough place, a lack of opportunity. I chose to come to the land of opportunity, as an immigrant. I came here, I've been working a lot. I love what I do. I have the passion for what I do. When people come to Chilangos, it's about sharing my story, where I come from, my culture, my food, my drinks, my tequila, how I talk to Mexico, how I talk to people about Mexico because of that perception. Mexico City, I want you to know, if you didn't know, Mexico City is twice the size of New York City. Mexico City is among the 10 of the richest cities in the world. Mexico City is the second city with most museums in the world. Mexico City's subway moves 5.5 million people a day, and the stations are crowded, some of them, marble floors, nice and clean. A couple of the stations are museums. So I'm mentioning that to you because of the perception. We have audience, viewers, and a lot of people don't know it. And I'm not saying anything like, oh my God, no. I'm talking about perception, right? So perception, when I came here, oh Leo, what are you doing in that town? Are you crazy? You're Mexican. Perception to some people. I've been here. I've been part of the community. I love it. So I'm talking about the same exact thing. The perception of Mexico in Latin America is usually drugs, cartels, killing, shootings, blah blah blah, or Cancun, or tequila, right? And the reason why I'm mentioning this to you right now is because we have people watching, and I want people to understand that the world is a big place. I love this country, but some people are cased in a little bubble, whether it's here or in Mexico or in China. And I always invite people to go out, to travel. I invite people. I have friends that came with me to Mexico. Carla, you know Carla?
Yeah.
Other friends to open up a little. Oh my God, Leo, oh, is this Mexico City? Oh, it's so clean, it's so this, it's so that. There's negativity in every place. So why am I talking about it? Because right now I'm talking about perception, right? Highlands, Leo, what are you crazy? Or Mexico, it's dangerous. No, there's good and bad in every place, right? I've seen crazy things here. I live here. I own my business here, being supported by people like you and a lot of our neighbors that have been nothing but great. And I wanted to talk about perception. So that's one subject I wanted to mention. Followed by, and this is a good one, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago that I had somebody showed interest into buying chilangos to make it a dispensary.
Yeah.
Right.
I protested that.
No, but listen, this is great. No, I'm bringing that up because I didn't have no, I did. Some people didn't have the opportunity to watch my videos or the cause of what was I doing, right? And it's a great thing that you're here because you're my neighbor. And what happened was that many years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I was going to New York City. I took the ferry. And I bumped into this kid. Leo, man, how you doing? You're going to New York? Yeah, how you doing? Good. Leo, man, me and my family, we go to Mexico all the time. We go to Cancun and it's beautiful and blah, 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 right? I said, oh, good for you. He says, but what's going on, man, Leo, right now? Drugs, cartels, this and that and blah, blah, blah. We hear that. We don't want to go back. I'm like, bro, that's media, it's the news, blah, blah, blah. I said, even though, there's a reality, cartels do exist, but what's going on? I said, we all have a problem that involves the United States, Mexico, Colombia, and other countries. And the kid goes like, what are you talking about? I said, have you heard about people bringing drugs into the United States in a car where a kid is apparently sleeping, but the kid is not sleeping, it's dead, stuffed with marijuana, cocaine, drugs, whatever, which people buy, people pay cartels to do that. And the guy goes like, oh my God, are you for real? I said, yeah, this is what happens. He says, I only smoke marijuana. And I said, well, I'm just telling you, marijuana, drugs, that. Give me 1 second. So I said to the guy, migrants, immigration, problems, cartels, killing, shootings. We all have to think about the solution or what the real problem is. Anyway, I'm going to tell you because I'm coming into the dispensary, right? So that one day I'm talking to a guy in Hillsborough, and he says, man, Leo, I'm a teacher in Trenton. And this past Monday, we took 10 kids to the hospital. I said, why? He says, because marijuana, they're selling cookies with, how do you call them, those cookies, or gummies, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. So kids get intoxicated, and we had to take them to the hospital. I said, what? I said, see, this is what I'm talking about, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, before that day, I had a guy that came here to Chilangos, and he says, Leo, my name is such and such. We own a company. and listen, we want to open up a dispensary, and maybe you might be interested into selling the restaurant. And I went like that, and I said, say that again? Oh, we want to open up a dispensary. Are you against that? I said, no, continue with your story. I want to hear it. He says, this is a nice location, blah, blah, blah. We're willing to do whatever. And I said, no, I'm not against a dispensary. I'm not against, as long as you tax it, you hire people, you do the right way, because I support getting rid of the middle guy, the cartels, the negativity. You want to come, you want to buy your marijuana, you want to pay taxes, you want to hire somebody, you want to make the economy better, I'm up for it. You want to save lives in Mexico, you want to get rid of the cartels and all this craziness, I'm up for it. So would you do it? I said, only because of that. You know what? The minute my neighbors hear about it, this thing is going to explode. And I want to do it. But by the way, you guys know that the dispensary is going to go over there, right? They're like, yeah, that's what they say. I said, so why would you want to spend money on it if you know, we want to give it a shot? I said, but you know it's going to go there. He says, we want to give it a shot. I said, okay, give it a shot, and I'll make noise with it. I'll make people aware of what's going on. So they agreed. That was the big news around here. Oh my God, Chilangos, blah, 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 blah. And then when this teacher guy told me about what was going on in Trenton with these kids going to the hospital, I said to the guy, get over here, get me a camera. I came up with the video and I explained the whole thing. I said, listen, this is what's going on. Most likely this is not going to happen here because I told these guys that it's going to happen there. But now that I have your attention, let's talk about the reality on, marijuana, cartels, blah, 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 blah.
Well,
so anyway, go ahead. But that was my comment, that was my video.
Yeah, I mean, most of us, who are involved saw your video, and, we respect your right to pursue your business interests, and we respect the idea that you have, you have a legitimate position.
Yeah.
And, ultimately a lot of the people that were residing around here felt differently. And that's, but that's what we can do as gentlemen. We can disagree.
Right.
And,
this is what I'm talking about.
I support your right to, to try and establish your business, and, and I support my right to go to my representatives in town council and argue the contrary position.
It's all about that.
However it shakes out, and if the situation prevailed, I would still value you as a friend and as a local businessman. I know you would have done the best possible job you could have with the business. I just personally, didn't want it here, and I was willing to stand up for that. But there's, it's not to keep 13 kids in Trenton safe or anything. I mean, they could eat. If you're young enough, you eat legal drugs, you're going to get
right. And listen, the whole
face in the toilet,
And the whole idea here, as last week when I had Jimmy, or whatever days I had Jimmy, was about what you just did. Leo, we're friends. Leo did. You know what? We can have differences. I can have explanations. I love my business. I love what I do. It's my passion. Truly, and those guys knew it. I said, dude, it's going to go over there, right? We want to give it a shot. I said, this might be an opportunity for me to talk about my mentality. Listen,
and half the people's vote against the dispensary was a vote to keep Chilangos. You have to remember that.
I heard that.
We wanted to keep a nice restaurant here that has a great clientele. It's not too loud. It's a good neighbor.
Thank you for saying that.
That's what we didn't want to lose.
Thank you for saying that.
That wonderful thing for an unknown thing, which I don't think would have been hugely terrible.
Thank
I think
you
would
for
have been fine. But my vote was a vote for having Chilangos stay in place.
Thank you very much. Listen, this is great hearing that by you. I don't want to say that I lost a couple of neighbors as family at the restaurant. I don't want to say customers, because I don't have customers here. Everybody that comes in is family to me. I love everybody, not only because you guys support Chilangos. You're here, you've been a gentleman always. You come in with your family. You've been great with all these guys. Unbelievable. I love you guys. We do our shots of tequila here and there. The whole conversation here is about exactly what we're doing. We didn't prepare this. We're just talking about it.
No.
A couple of people stopped coming to Chilangos because of that. Listen, I'm not going to be the guy saying, oh, I don't need... No. I need everybody here to be... I understand and I respect. I came up with the video. I explained, and again, this is not to you. This is not because you're here. No, this just came up because this podcast is about this. It's about talking about anything. We're going to be talking about food. You just talked about your family, how long you came here, how long I came here, how we came here, right? Well, guess what? We've been through Sandy. We've been through this almost being a dispensary. We've been through a lot of things. We will go through a lot of things still. The beauty of it, like I said to Jimmy, like Jimmy said, you know what, Leo? It doesn't matter. We're still friends. We've been friends forever, and we will remain friends. Jimmy and I had a conversation also that I want to bring up to change the subject a little bit. Politics, right now, right? I know it's a tough topic. I never spoke to you about it. You're a great guy. I don't think I'm not into going crazy about it. But I like hearing from people. Sure. You know, if you don't want to talk about it,
ask your
fine.
questions.
No, it's not even questions. I'm going to tell you something that I didn't tell Jimmy. I do represent what we call the American dream. I came to the greatest country in the world in 1989, and I was like, in my mind, I was like the adopted child that came here to learn the language, to open up my business. The land of opportunity exists. I represent it, I live it, I love it, right? Today, because of politics, I don't care. I'm not into that. I'm into family. Where is my family? Right now, to me in my mind, mom and dad are getting divorced. They're fighting. They want to kill each other. I hear people out there. I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying that. I have friends. I hear things that I'm like, you're talking about Americans hating Americans, Americans looking to hurt Americans.
I think that's a fair point, Leo, because I, like you, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and, you know, I never liked Jimmy Carter, but I didn't hate Jimmy Carter. I always thought Jimmy Carter was a decent human being who was poorly equipped to be president, because perhaps he was too thoughtful, as opposed to being a man of executive action. But then Reagan came in, and I loved Reagan. I still, to this day, loved him. He was a wonderful communicator. The way he spoke to people, and you felt warmth, and you felt he had a common touch. And so, even though people didn't like Reagan, they didn't hate him, and they didn't hate his supporters. And then they started to hate Bush because of the war in Iraq, and they definitely hated George Bush Jr. And our politics just become very polarized. So that it's no longer how it was when I was a young person and my parents had Democrat friends and Republican. They were firmly Democrat, but they had Republican friends, and they just, they respectfully disagree on their positions and assume that if the wrong if their person who was not their choice ended up elected to higher office as the president, that the legislature would kind of control them because there was enough. We were close enough to a 50-50. In our legislature, that there are checks and balances, and I just feel now that there's just we're so polarized. The feelings against both the candidates are so strong because they're quite frankly, such poor candidates. Both of them are just horrible, but they're easy to dislike. On the face of them, like you're not necessarily going back and looking at everything, and I long for the days when we had a more civil discourse on politics that's really held us strong for 200 years, and now seems to have devolved into something that's much more anarchistic.
Wow, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking that this is. This conversation is like this tequila. I'm enjoying it a lot.
As am I.
I never thought about doing this, right? A podcast and interviewing people. We're having a conversation. I'm not interviewing them. I'm having a conversation.
You invited me an hour ago. I picked up my girls.
That's right. But this is, right now, I feel unbelievable. Because you and I we know each other. Hey, Leo. Hey, Frank. They come in. Hey, how's everything? Let's do a shot. Whatever. but never this. We're friends. We know each other, but we never had the opportunity to share, thoughts
And I'm appreciating that opportunity, Leo.
No, me too. I'm loving it right now. I feel like, this is beautiful. So just to listen to you makes me believe that there's a lot of wonderful people. I'm not criticizing nobody. Again, mom and dad are fighting and there's going to be a divorce or whatever. Hate, blah, 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 blah. I don't like talking to people like you. I'm like, man, oh my God, I wish, everybody calms down. Everybody comes to a point where, we can sit down and talk and understand and talk, whatever, What happened to that America when I came? Is it that I'm learning more things? Was it always like this, you think?
No,
or it was really different?
I was a staunch Republican during the Clinton administration, but I had to admit, I liked Clinton. He was a genial guy. He had a nice, as I said, the common touch. He could talk to people in a way they related to. I met him a couple times at campaign events when I got roped into supporting for a little bit. And he'd come up and he wouldn't even look at my name tag. He'd just reach out and shake my hand and say, "Hi, Frank, nice to see you." And it was just amazing. The guy had such political skills. And he was also a man with deep personal flaws and whose politics at the end of the day, I didn't agree with. But he was genial and likable. And I think and I think George Bush Jr. is a very likable likable man, and as he's gotten older. But to a lot of people, they kind of long for those days. It's funny how people say, I wish Mitt Romney was running, because he's like a gentleman. I'd just love to see a gentleman or a gentlewoman in the office who bears the office with the dignity that it deserves.
And when I say that I'm enjoying this, is because I don't know much about politics. I don't know much about what happened before. I don't know much about it. I know about chilangos. I know about Mexican food. Do you really like Mexican food?
I love your Mexican food.
You like my Mexican food?
I have. I grew up in Rochester, New York, and Irish family, and Italian food was probably, and Chinese food was as far as we got out of the box. I didn't have Mexican food until after I was out of college, and I'd moved to New York, and I gradually was introduced to it. I'm like, these are amazing flavors, and I was trained I did several years training on French cooking, so I'm aware of the complexity of cooking and the styles. And as you know, French cooking bears is the root of a lot of regional cookings in terms of how you make mirepoix or whatever whatnot. But it's and I never spent a lot of time eating Mexican food, especially good Mexican food, until I came to Highlands and I started dining at your restaurant. And that's where it was right here for me all the time. It was the option I like best out of a lot of restaurants that I think are fantastic in town. But this is the one that's, and how does it happen? I end up living right around the corner, and it's wonderful.
Real quick, our town, is it getting better? How do you feel about the town? Are we in the process? Is it a little better than 10 years ago?
As of today, 1/12 of our roads are paved, and so it's better as of today. Tomorrow it'll be 2/12. So by the end of the weekend, maybe we'll have paved roads. It's a disgrace that the roads took this long to get paved. I understand there's issues with the county.
Right.
I think it was mismanaged. And I am, we've had roads in this town that are inferior to roads in third world countries for 2 years. So it's, now it's ending, and everybody can get their suspensions fixed. But it's I'm not happy with how leadership has handled that particular issue. Since you ask,
sure, of course, it's all about that.
I don't think there is any appetite from the local community to have a wall going around our town. I think that's being forced on us by politicians who have different agendas. And have not considered the full magnitude of the population. So there are things going on with this town that I think are disgraceful. I think need to be changed. I think there is some room. There's room for some new leadership, I've always been a big supporter of you, but I just think that people are getting a little too entrenched maybe, and we need to take the temperature of this town again as to what people really want, and make sure that that's what we're advancing. For the people who raise families here, the older people in this town who are on fixed incomes to some degree, balancing the needs of business owners. It can't have not have been easy for you to have had a business next to roads that belong in Guadalcanal. After a Japanese strafing expedition. I mean, everything's blown up out here. So it can't be easy for you to have, for any business owner, including the mayors, to be on the street and have this state of disrepair. It's unacceptable.
It's great that you're talking about this because a couple of days ago, I was talking to my neighbor, Jack, across the street. And he was asking me questions about what's going on in Mexico, blah, blah, blah. We're talking, right? So I said, Jack, perception. I said, a couple of weeks ago, Mexico got a international award for the new airport that they built right outside
Nice.
Mexico City.
Mazel tov.
And he says, really? I said, yeah, because of the amount of money they expend, right? The size of the airport, and they built it in 2.5 years. An international airport, right?
It's very impressive.
I said, well, there's an award that was granted, internationally. And he says, really, Leo? So I placed the video for him. He's like, what? I said, listen, like I said before, and I'm saying it right now, I love this country, and I am with you. What is going on where a country that some people think that is a third world country builds an airport, international airport, within 2.5 years, with this much money, with this size? And as an example, how long that bridge that connects
About a year and a half, yep.
About a year and a half, a bridge that is not done yet. Streets here. So what is it? Is it red tape? Is it government? Is it everything? Is it a little bit of what do you think?
I'd be very curious to know what the average worker was making during the construction of the Mexican airport, compared relative to the cost of living in each place to what a union steel worker was making on the bridge. That guy is making a fair living wage, I think, or he'd probably say not, but they're making a great wage for a working man in this country. From a union standpoint, they have a union defending them. And I do not pretend to know whether the labor rates in Mexico give the person who's working an opportunity for a reasonable life and a home and all that, the opportunity to buy the entree to the middle class.
Right.
Or maintenance of the middle class.
So is it the workers? Is not the red tape? Is not the...
Well, I think there's also, I think there's a lot of regulations that we have related to safety here that are invaluable. I have 2 daughters. Sooner or later they'll be driving. I want them to be driving over bridges that are well made and safe. I want them to be driving along roads that are properly paved so that they don't careen off and hurt themselves or someone else, or the car I bought them.
There's a lot of points to it, and that was the conversation we had with Jack. So listen, should we do one more tequila or? Listen.
Is Howdy Doody made of wood?
This is good. This is good
wonderful.
stuff.
Wonderful.
Listen, all I want to say is that I've known you for a long time. Every time I see you, we say hello. You come here. I come to the table. Talking to you, man, it's great. I like to learn. When it comes to tequila, southern Mexico, mezcal, northern Mexico, sotol, tequila, food, mole, blah, blah, blah. That's my thing. I like to share that with people and give information. When it comes to other things that I don't know much about it, I love hearing from people with a different perspective, with an open mind, with a nice conversation, with you know what I'm saying? Not being, getting mean or tough. No. This is beautiful. I'm loving it. So guess what? We're going to do a shot of tequila.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you for your valuable time. I appreciate that you've been a supporter. This was a great conversation. I love hearing and learning Because when you want to learn, when you're open, you want to pay attention. You want to hear the other side. When you don't care and you disrespect or you don't respect, you don't care, you interrupt, you do this and that. You are unbelievable. I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Maybe we should do it again next time with a different tequila too.
Anytime you like.
Or maybe with the same one. But Frank, man, what a pleasure having you. This is great. I want to thank you. Please subscribe to our channel, Chilangos in the House. Instagram, Chilangos NJ. Beautiful people, wonderful neighbor, friends, brothers, sisters, community. This is what I'm talking about. Conversations, beautiful. So I want to thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. We'll bring somebody else. I don't know who that's going to be, but I love just learning and hearing from everyone. It's very important to listen to people. Frankie, thank you very much. I love you, brother. I appreciate. Salud. Thank you.
Salud.